On May 31, 2009, Air France Flight 447 departed Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, bound for Paris, France. It was a routine flight operated by a state-of-the-art Airbus A330, carrying 216 passengers and 12 crew members, a total of 228 souls aboard. Yet, just hours into the flight, tragedy struck. This is the story of one of aviation's most puzzling disasters. The journey began smoothly, but as the plane reached cruising altitude of 35,000 feet over the Atlantic Ocean, a brewing tropical storm lay ahead. At the controls were three experienced pilots: Captain Marc Dubois, with over 11,000 flight hours, First Officer David Robert, and co-pilot Pierre-Cédric Bonin. Shortly after midnight, the aircraft entered the storm. Ice crystals began forming on the plane's pitted tubes, small sensors critical for measuring airspeed. These sensors, now frozen, sent conflicting speed data to the cockpit. For an Airbus A330, this triggered the autopilot to disengage. The pilots were now flying manually. Without accurate speed readings, confusion took hold. In response, co-pilot Bonin pulled the nose of the plane up, a critical mistake. The aircraft began to climb steeply, losing speed rapidly. In aviation, this is known as a stall. The plane's wings could no longer generate enough lift to keep it airborne. Despite repeated stall warnings, Bonin continued pulling back on the controls, worsening the situation. Captain Dubois, who had been on a scheduled rest break, rushed back into the cockpit. But by then, it was too late. In just 4 minutes, the aircraft plummeted from 38,000 feet to the ocean below. All 228 people aboard Flight 447 perished. It took nearly 2 years to locate the wreckage and recover the black boxes from the ocean floor. What investigators uncovered was both heartbreaking and a stark lesson for the aviation industry. Investigators found that the pitted tubes froze because they were not adequately designed for such extreme conditions. This led to the autopilot disengaging and left the pilots without critical information. But the ultimate fault lay in the human response. The pilots failed to recognize the stall and mismanaged the controls. The training did not adequately prepare them for such emergencies. They were overwhelmed by a situation they did not fully understand. To prevent such tragedies, several measures have been implemented. Redesigning pitted tubes. Manufacturers ensured the sensors could withstand extreme conditions. Enhanced training. Airlines now emphasize stall recovery and manual flying skills in simulators. Improved communication. Standard procedures for sharing information during emergencies were refined. Flight 447 is a sobering reminder of how small errors, both human and technical, can cascade into catastrophic outcomes. It reshaped the aviation industry, ensuring that the lessons learned from this tragedy will protect future passengers. For the 228 lives lost that night, their legacy lives on in the changes made to make flying safer for all of us.